I'm ashamed at how long it's taken me to get set up for this. It's been a better number of hours. So today what I want to do is basically start an intro to a new playlist that I'm really excited to add to my channel, all about minimalism. And today I just want to touch on my journey with minimalism, how I got started being a minimalist, where I was then, and all the way up until this present day. So I'm just gonna dive right into the video and get started. Okay, so I would say that my journey basically began when I left Halifax and I moved to Toronto to do makeup. And I left here with 2 suitcases and my makeup kit and my laptop and my purse, and that was it. And I was lucky enough to basically move in with a friend who I then ended up dating, and I ended up living with that person. So I didn't have any furniture. I was just, you know, living in his place. And so, and that went on like that for years. And it wasn't till many years later that I ended up moving out. That's a whole other story, but getting my own place and having to get some furniture. So at the time, my uncle was actually leaving the city, so he gave me a bed that he had just bought, and I think a chest of drawers, a couple of small pieces of furniture. So I had that to work with, and I think I bought a sofa on Craigslist, and there was like nothing. I think the guy that lived in that place before me had like this old, like shitty TV with like the crank dials, like I'm talking old school with the antennas. So I had that for a TV. It was like, there was nothing in there. And it was a small apartment too. So in my head, I was thinking, well, you know what? Like, I can't move into a bigger place. I can't afford a bigger place. But if I keep my furniture really minimal, it'll feel bigger in here. So, you know, I remember one of my good friends staying with me for the weekend and just crashing on the couch, and we were just kind of hanging out, and he was looking around, and he was like, I like your place. It's really minimal. And that was the first time that anyone had ever really like associated that with me. And I remember thinking like, minimal, huh? That sounds so chic and like sophisticated, like, you know, contemporary minimalism. And I just thought like, I thought I was more just, I was broke, you know? But then from that point on, I was like, yeah, you know what? Like, now that you mention it, I guess I am a minimalist. I like not having a lot of stuff, you know? And so I guess on some level, I've always kind of tended towards that. But it wasn't until sort of when I fast forward a number of years that I really started adopting a much more minimal approach to living. And, you know, basically by the time I, you know, had spent a decade in Toronto, I would say near the end of my time in Toronto, I was living in a bigger condo, and I had still not a whole lot of furniture. I would say my place was pretty minimal, but I was laid off, and I was over Toronto, and I was ready to leave. So I had to get rid of as much as I could and fit whatever was left over in a tiny van. And that was what I ended up driving back to the East Coast when I moved into my parents, when I got really sick. That's again another story, but I had to get rid of all of my stuff. I sold everything. I sold my mattress, my bed, my sofa, a big chair that went with the furniture, a coffee table, TV stand, like my kitchen table and stools. I'm sure other things too, but everything. It was like just people, strangers coming in and out of my condo for like 2 or 3 days, just cleaning everything out. And I really wasn't too bothered by that. I know there were some people that kind of said, you know, oh, like, you know, how does it feel to get rid of all your stuff? And that was honestly, like, of all the other things that I was having to deal with at that time, it was literally the furthest thing from my mind. I mean, if anything, it was very freeing to just kind of like get rid of everything. So it never really bothered me. Getting rid of things has always felt like I was gaining more than I was losing. And I think because I adopted that idea from a pretty young age, I just always kind of never really associated it with being negative. If anything, I felt like, you know, the less I have, the more freedom I have. And so that's kind of how I feel to this day. Things have changed recently. As you can see, I'm kind of settled into the tiny cottage that I'm now calling home when I am living in Canada whenever I'm not traveling. This place was furnished originally with my parents' furniture, but they've since bought, they got a steal of a deal on an actual house down the road from here, so they moved their furniture in that was in here down there. So they told me I'm more than welcome to stay in here, but I'd have to furnish it, which is not hard because I believe this place it's under 500 square feet. It might be roughly, I think it's between 400 and 450 square feet in here. So very, very tiny, but super cute and definitely all I need. It works for me. I don't have to worry about furnishing all kinds of rooms or anything like that. So I think the only two pieces of furniture I ended up bringing with me from Toronto are right here. This little chest of drawers that I kind of hacked. This is an IKEA thing that I just put different handles on, and that lamp. And everything else is just suitcases, clothes, you know, my vlogging, like electronic stuff like that, my laptop. Really, that's about it. I had to buy a bed when I moved in here, and what else did I buy? I bought a tiny sofa. So that's really it. There's a TV that's been kicking around in here, an old TV on a stand, but I'll do a cottage tour eventually and show you guys the rest of the place, but it's a little under construction right now. This is the only room that's actually like kind of done up. Everything else is needing a little bit of TLC. We've still got to put a shower in, so I have to go down the road to get a shower, which is a little, but that'll all be fixed up hopefully very soon. But I don't want to digress too much. I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of an idea of kind of my backstory on minimalism and, you know, my philosophies on it and how I came to, you know, to where I am today. And, you know, to this day, like I said, aside from the little bit of furniture that's in here, that's really all I have. And I'm really looking forward to getting a hold of some of my other suitcases and clearing those out. That'll be my next thing that I do, because there's definitely a lot of clothes in there that could be going to Goodwill and being donated. And it's just kind of, it gets a little addictive getting rid of stuff after a while. So this is the intro to my minimalism playlist. There's going to be plenty of other videos with tips and tricks and things that I've used along my journey to minimalism. And I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of a backstory before I got into that. So definitely stay tuned for the other content on minimalism if this is a topic that interests you. Definitely interests me. It's something that I'm really excited about. And I just think it has the potential to add a lot of value to people's lives. So with that being said, I'm gonna leave it here. Thank you guys so much for watching this. Be sure to subscribe if you want to see more videos like this, and I will see you guys in the next one.